No, they called us immediately and we're like, is your water working? And I'm like, no, it's not. Do you know what's going on? No, I don't.
When did this happen?
What night was it?
Tuesday?
I don't remember.
I think it was
Thursday,
Monday night.
Monday?
Monday night?
Yeah,
That sounds right.
How long was it out?
Maybe
Not very long.
30, 45 minutes? maybe
About what
40?
time? About what time? I'm just kind of wondering what I was doing.
well, most people must have been getting ready to get in the shower.
Yes.
It's a little
Yeah.
after 7.
I guess I don't know
It's
how long
probably
it lasted, it's just from the time I noticed
Yeah.
it till when it
And
came
you're
back.
up.
Oh, how do we sort this?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Okay, minutes. Anything about the minutes?
I didn't read.
I moved to approve them. I'm sorry, I was totally
I know,
spacing
I'm
out.
I mean, I second it.
I apologize. I'll pay more attention.
Well, I was reading the end of it, so I just like, I forgot to finish reading it.
You moved to approve to pay the bills for October.
Alright, second it.
All in favor? Okay. Oh, do you want to talk about the record retention policy?
Now you do your bills.
Oh,
Did you already do your bills?
yes.
Oh, I heard you say minutes, I didn't hear you say bills.
We're quick.
Us ladies don't mess around.
Yeah, so the record retention policy, just, Robin emailed me or called me, I don't remember which, anyway, emailed, wondering about cleaning out some of the storage over here, so I had her look around to see if you had your records retention policy, it sounds like you don't. So, I strongly recommend you do have one, because it is required by state law. But I wanted to visit with you about it before I put it in. I can take Blackfoot's and pretty well just modify it for you. It essentially defines what's temporary record, semi-permanent, and permanent. Permanent you keep forever, you know, and then you said, and then anything she's destroyed, she has to bring to council and say, look, here's the list of things I'm destroying. That's not a page-by-page list, it'd be like, you know, one box of old financial records, one box of stuff from 1985, one, you know, and kind of outline that, so that you keep that record of what you've destroyed. So you should do it.
Okay.
But, I mean, I wanted kind of approval before I went ahead and got that for you.
So how long does Blackfoot keep theirs? I'm just curious.
Well, so again, depending on the three types, right? So temporary records, which would be like your notes and just bank statements and stuff you keep for 2 years. Your semi-permanent are contracts or things you keep for 5 or 10 depending. And then obviously permanent is you keep forever.
Okay.
You know, permanent's your ordinances and your, you know,
Where does like the auditor stuff fall into?
you can have those as temporaries probably, you know, just, because 2 years is pretty quick on, so your bank statements and stuff, once they, you know, it's a 2, if it's not, you don't need those because you've got your audit and stuff, but anyway, it just outlines all that, it's all by statute.
I'm fine with adopting Blackfoot.
Yeah, so it's easier for me, you know, and it's not like it's a real long policy, it's gonna be the same thing, I mean, and I can try to reinvent the wheel, but I don't see why.
I don't see why I.
So do we have to motion to
I
have her just,
motion
Just
that,
tell-
just do a motion, so she's got it in the minutes.
I motion to approve that we use Blackfoot's record retention policy.
And then I'll modify it, and bring it to you next month.
Alright, second it.
all in favor? Do we get to have a bonfire with the stuff we get throw away?
Ooh, I like that.
Other than paper doesn't burn as good as you would think.
I know, because it's too compacted.
Is Blackfoot keeping everything paper or do they do digital stuff?
Well, so the stuff that you are gonna destroy, there's certain things you'll digitize, you know,
CYA.
yeah.
Okay.
And there's certain things that if you're gonna destroy, you have to get hold of the historical society. Say, hey, you can
Oh.
have this.
Interesting.
That's like,
Or something.
what, historical society?
Yeah,
like
the
the
Idaho, yeah, the state's historical society.
state, like, the state,
I've never,
It
You know,
is
but-
one itself.
I mean, there might be something of, you know, the original city charter or something that you might come across, or I don't know, the state historical society.
Well, I would get rid of anything like that, I like it.
Yeah,
that
so
would
like,
be really
well,
cool.
you know, anyway.
Like what's on that board behind you.
Those are really cool.
Those are, yeah, those old photos and stuff are always, I love those, old maps, old photos.
Tony gave us a picture of our old house, what it looked
Oh,
like.
yeah?
Uh-huh. It's still log cabin underneath.
Oh, my.
It's the original house, trust me.
So Robin, so next month's agenda would have the records retention policy and then a resolution attached to it.
Okay.
So you just put records retention policy and resolution as an agenda item.
Okay, our next item is discuss the walkthrough of the buildings and ideas. Only person on there was Brittany.
Oh, the only one?
Well,
No,
that's here.
but
That's here.
Oh, I was like, I thought it was only two.
I don't know
So
if
I
I'm
just,
discussing.
you know, whatever,
Because I like the idea of building that house, like that guy was talking about, the little shed, I don't know what you call it, shed, building
yeah,
thing.
we just kind of like saw some needs that I think should be planned for. One being was putting a building over where like the sewer stuff, like the manhole and the radio there,
Mm-hmm.
having that in a building that will also house a generator that sits over in the maintenance shop. So if the power were to go out, Guy or whoever would have to take that over to the sewer thing so that the sewer can keep going. So it could all be housed under one roof and protected from the weather. So when there was an emergency, you didn't have to, oh, I got to get my pickup over there and I gotta haul this thing over there.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a big generator.
It is, it's very large.
And it wouldn't have to be like a huge building, but something to think of.
That sounds like an idea.
One of those tough shit, 10 by 10 shops.
Yeah, I mean, you'd want it insulated, like there's power and everything there, you'd probably want some sort of.
Yeah, I think
heat.
he said it had to be up to a certain temperature or something. So I mean, it has to be locked and everything, but still, it wouldn't be a huge building, it would just be a building where we could store that there. So it makes sense.
Yeah, because what if there was an emergency and the guy couldn't come?
Yeah.
I know I can do that.
Didn't we say we had money in the budget that we could do with this?
There, like, sewer looks pretty good, but I wasn't here with all of the sewer projects that happened. So I don't know what needs are still out there that will need to be done. I
If
know
I-
not everything was fixed.
If I remember right, we have an overage. Like,
Yes,
we-
there's
so
a-
we were done.
Then we were trying to decide what we could do before we
Yeah.
had some sewer. doing it.
Yeah.
So you get a building put out there for the sewer stuff, that can pull against the sewer
That
fund.
would be
Yeah.
sewer funds, yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
And, two places, well, several places have, but up in Shelley, on the far side, the equipment, I forget the name of it, they have all the cow panels, they have the different size tough sheds there as well. And then as you get up to just before, Sunnyside, there's a tough shed dealership up there, right by the scout shop.
Yeah, Guy had some ideas, but I
Well,
don't remember
and
what he said he wanted to
Some of
do.
those sheds are kind of pricey. I think if we had our own labor to, it might be cheaper, I don't know.
I didn't
Well, I
know
would
anything about how to build
Personally,
that, I
think
really
you'd
don't.
want a building with a foundation. Yeah, cement floor, that generators, stuff. Yeah. I don't know, it's something we need to explore, I guess. I don't know. And then Guy and I can sit and price this stuff out. It doesn't have to be done tonight, but I just thought.
'Cause wasn't there something else we had to repair, replace or something, one of those gauges?
Yeah, his
There's
gauge was stolen, right?
Well, no, there's some analog gauges on the pumps. tells how much water flow has gone through. And it's supposed to be updated to a digital one. He's given 10 years to do it, and we're down to 2 years. So that needs to be done.
Yep, and we needed those new tires. Did he get the new tires?
We got new tires and we got him a new seat for his tractor,
Okay,
and
he doesn't want a windshield yet, right?
he does.
Oh,
My
he
husband
does.
talked to me.
Thank goodness, that really, it did need
I'm
it.
like, you don't want to whisper.
I'm glad your husband talked to me on the
He
windshield.
was so funny, like, the seat, like, cause he is getting older and it's hard riding in that tractor on his back. And so he insisted like get a nice seat.
Good.
And when it showed up and he sat in it, he was like, oh, this smells like lumber or something. Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm glad those things were bought.
So we need to encourage him to get looking.
So I know the next expenses that he'll have is he needs to get the tractor motor in good running condition. Before winter.
Okay.
So is that thing where we got the seat corner and everything, and needs a new motor?
I mean, not a new motor,
Yeah.
just it needs to be tuned up and gone through.
So who's doing that?
I think Guy is.
Oh,
You just gotta
so
tell me
he's just
that.
a jack of all trades. I know nothing about that kind of stuff. I'm gonna be on. Okay, perfect.
So we need a list for Guy.
Yeah.
You know, and I think too, some of the things to think about also, for future is, I know that like the county, other cities, whatever, they put stuff up for auction that you can find newer equipment. And we need to get on the list to see those auctions. So that would be my job,
Okay.
is to figure out where to get on that list. Because, I mean,
Good to know.
all the city vehicles are very old,
Oh, yeah.
which isn't terrible. I'm not against old vehicles. They can be easier to work on, but also new is nice. Newer than
In the
1950.
1960s or whatever
That's
they
just happened to charge it.
Yeah, charge it. Push it, get it running.
Yeah.
In.
You didn't have anything else that
We discussed, we need to find somebody who can write us a grant for roads.
So that civilized guy, well, and he's here, I know, I was with Larry when he called,
For you?
yeah.
Perfect, yeah, I called him just a couple hours ago, unfortunately, but I was talking with Robert and I, and we got talking about, we've helped the city of Firth out with a lot of the transportation plan and getting in funding for the sidewalks and everything. And he mentioned, he's like, well, have you talked to the city of Basalt, because they could probably use the help as well. And so that was, I've been meaning to call the mayor earlier and finally did it today.
So what's your name? And
Kyle Jones with Harper Levin Engineering originally. And so we help write those grants and then administer them if you're funded and kind of work you through that whole process to help get you guys money to do. And kind of the first step is to make sure you have a transportation plan, is kind of the first step. And LTAC is, I don't know if you've ever heard of them before, it's a
yeah,
local technical advisory council. Yeah. They have a bunch of funding, and the first step is to do transportation planning. And they'll fund up to $50,000 to pay for a transportation plan, which is enough to cover a transportation plan for the city of Basalt relatively easily. And so we would help you apply for that, get the transportation plan done, and then there's another source of funding for construction. There's a $100,000 grant to go after roadways, to improve the roadways themselves, whether it's chip seal or rehab or whatever. And then there's the other really good source right now is the Child Pedestrian Safety Program, CPSD. That you can get a $250,000 grant for sidewalk improvements or halfway improvements. So there's kind of the three main sources. Signs, $100,000. There's a group of, or a funding source that's $100,000 for the roadway project, or they're up to $30,000 for signs if you guys need sign quite a few grant programs. If you have collector streets, there is a program that allows you to get, I think it's $500,000 to do a project on those roadways, but it's a 7.34% match. So there's a little bit of money the city would have to pitch in there to do those, but it's a pretty good funding sources for them.
What exactly is that collector?
It's a designation from the state of Idaho. Kind of ITD has their map of what's a collector already. If in the transportation plan we kind of go through that and identify roads that already are collector streets or roads that should be categorized as a collector street, that would have, it's kind of a process. You have to go back through ITD and just tell them, hey, this should be a collector street based on traffic volumes and roadway design, and then they send it to federal highway for final approval. That's
So like
the process.
800 down here would be a collector for the city, since that's the way you get into the city mostly.
Yeah, it should be. I haven't looked at.
And since they made the park now, so they're responsible down to the bridge, including the bridge over the one canal. That's something you might want to look into.
So I remember last month, us,
Right.
I was just gonna say, the only, because Husk Crowther,
Similar, yeah.
was here talking about it, just so you guys weren't duplicating efforts,
Yeah.
would be.
Well, I'm sure, yeah, it's the same type. Well, I don't know if you had Husk going after any funding sources or not, or.
Well, I know they had talked about it, and I think he was gonna
he was
figure out
gonna
where,
start the
because they were gonna,
LPAC and he was gonna start.
but he was gonna
funding
come down and
for
figure out how old your transportation plan was.
And I haven't heard
Heard
from
from
him
him.
yet.
So I don't, so that was, because that was the first question, is how old, since none of us can remember when they had that one.
Well, if it's older than 5,
Do it
I
5
think it's
years.
5 years,
That's what I thought.
LTAC will fund another one. And it's pretty easy to look, I could probably look it up, whether they funded it originally. If they funded it originally, they would consider it an update, and so they'd only fund up to $30,000 to update the transportation plan. So it's still there. So I can try to look that up for us.
I remember one other thing that we were talking about is putting a road through.
Yep, that's right, thank you, Pam.
When we start on roads,
That's
you know,
right.
the 810 north that I live on, and you get over there, and then it stops.
Yeah,
We
at the
will-
end of that to get to those
We
other
want to put a
houses.
road in.
Yeah,
But it would go over the canal, right?
Mm-hmm.
so you have to get,
That could be crazy. You have to, bridge.
Yeah, bridges aren't cheap right now.
Well, over the canal down here, okay, if the canal's put into a steel pipe, you really don't have to do a bridge, just has to have the right type of steel pipe to go under there, and you don't have to do a bridge then.
They're talking about pipe in the bridge, or pipe in the canal.
Yeah, it's, I mean, we put it, you know, when I worked in California for Mountain Cascade, we put in water pipe like that, everything from 36-inch up to 122-inch. 2 inches more than 10 feet. And so their pipe is available, it's cement coated on the inside, double plastic coated on the outside, and comes in 40-foot lengths. And so you can get like a 10 and a 20, and you can get it all together before you just get it set in, pave over it, you know, backfill, pave, and you're done. A lot cheaper than a bridge.
Can be, for sure.
Maybe, Kyle, remind me tomorrow, Monday, let me get a hold of Brent and, just make sure, because I mean, I think it's for you guys, it's no brainer to try and get that transfer station study done. But I can coordinate between Brent and Harper Levitt to make sure that, we're not duplicating efforts, you know, there's no sense of. Yes, I'm pretty sure, because just my recollection was, I know, because Brent had talked about it, he was gonna come and meet with you to find the
Yeah.
transfer station study.
And
But,
I am wondering, like, is there a contract with one certain company?
no, so
Or an
Brent, 'cause
agreement.
Brent we had done the sewer ponds with, he was just gonna look into this LTAC stuff for you to go from there.
Yeah.
We had the same question, we didn't know how old it was, or.
It looks like back in 2008, they funded you guys for a transportation plan.
It's only 15 years.
Yeah.
to use your company, how would we go about doing it?
You would probably just direct us somehow, whether you want to vote as a council, that's the way you want to move, to ask us to apply for that funding and go in that direction. It doesn't commit you guys to select us for the transportation fund at all. And in fact, because it's over $25,000, you'd have to do like an RFQ process to select an engineering firm to do that work.
Okay. And do you have like a price list of how much it would cost you to do the grant to put it in?
We've done the grants for free, just because it's a pretty simple application. I think there's 6 questions on that application. It's not too difficult.
It's an easy grant.
I was gonna say, that's in my comment.
I'll write that name.
Yeah, they're not horribly difficult. I mean, there's a project description in E, but the transportation plan side is pretty simple.
Okay.
So,
Since someone's asking the question, about how much does it cost to do a plan?
yeah, and we've been spending. We've got one in Paris and Bloomington right now. We're just finishing up, but we spent $45,000 to $50,000 to try and go through everything. We go, and the whole purpose of what we do is we'll go through and actually do inspections on all your roads and give a pavement condition index, is what it's called, on the road condition themselves, and then have recommendations for repairs if there's any maintenance recommendations to get everything up to maintenance, and a future plan for that. The signs, we'll go through all your signs and have recommendations for it, meet with you guys, and a few times at public if you guys want to involve the public on getting their opinion on transportation related items and concerns, any major improvements like extension of roadways or bridges that need to be identified, culverts. We kind of trying to go through all encompassing of what you have for roadways. You guys are a little smaller, but I would say you're 45 areas probably a little more insurance than
But since we already have a transportation study that was 15 years old, they'll only use a grant for how much again?
30, and that's a great clarification. If we can find that old one, that does make our job a lot easier. We don't have to pull a lot of information in, we can just kind of hold what we've got and then update it. So we would just spend 30 and make sure we get it up to date and call it good.
And how would we go about finding that, do you know?
Yeah.
So we would have it like in a hard copy.
Ideally, for
Okay.
that old, I don't,
But I was not hearing you guys.
we can, LTAC might have a copy. We like to send them once we complete and send them a copy so that they can file it, and that way 10 years down the road, or if things happen that they don't keep them up to date, or things change a lot sometimes, and so we try to send them in so that LTAC has copies of it to use it too.
Okay.
They might have a copy.
I bet you definitely.
I do.
knows
I
that.
was just
Yeah, I
gonna
was
say,
gonna
Deborah
say,
was
I'm
here.
sure it's either in here, because there's a lot of old stuff in there, but if it's not in there, it's probably not there.
Yeah, but you told Deborah she always seemed pretty meticulous as far as where she took
What?
Well, I'll just move that we hire this gentleman's company to do the grant and everything.
So, I guess I have a question.
It's my only contingency would be if we're not duplicating what
Yeah,
Brent is.
because we gave him
Yeah.
permission.
So he was, because he was
It
here
was
last,
Brent, I don't remember Brent.
Husk,
Oh, is Brian his first name?
Brent's his real name.
Oh, okay. I like it going.
Why do they call him Husk? Is that his last name?
I met him,
I only know him as Husk.
yeah, I met him in 2006,
Yeah.
2007 range, when I was doing a project up in Rexburg, and he was with, Forestry, thank you.
Okay.
Back then, I think called him Husk. That's
Probably a high school thing.
probably, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but his real name is Brent.
Okay. I'm thinking,
How long do we have to give him before we can go somewhere else?
Well, because, no, I mean, and you don't. This is a courtesy if he's not moving along, because, HLE does these all the time, Kyle's good with them.
so can we make a motion to,
So make the motion to have HLE do it, contingent upon me calling Brent and kind of.
Yeah.
and that way if we don't, we
If you
can
could
still
do that, that'd be
go
great.
forward?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
It would have to really run out.
I would appreciate that, thank you, Gary.
yeah, and we'll just remind you.
Motion to,
We will hire.
We'll move forward, we'll move forward on the UPTEC grants
If
with
we
Harbor
don't hear
Revenue
from
for
us.
so.
Find the next.
Okay.
What he said.
as long as she's got that guy, all in favor.
So we're not duplicating efforts.
Yep. Did you second it?
Yeah.
I know the name, I like it.
Yes, you're lazy.
I know. I just. I see.
Okay. So-
Oh,
Can we do this one since the mayor's not here? We can't do that, can we?
Oh,
Does he have to be the one that signs this? Or can we discuss it and
he
not sign
signed
it?
it earlier.
Oh,
Yeah, that would be within his authority, you don't have to approve that.
No, it was just to.
Get
so
better.
is this
It's
about,
better?
about the replacement values of all the?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, equipment and stuff.
Okay, and we raised our insurance, right?
The premium went up a little bit,
But we did
and
ask for
this,
better,
like,
because we don't want to get caught out in case something.
he just said, like, everything is covered.
Right,
If we were in a problem, everything would be covered. It just makes life easier to have an updated list and what the value is. It's not gonna affect the premium.
okay.
Now, does your agent come down and walk through those with you?
He did not.
Because that's,
He just
I would
said
call
make a
your
list.
agent, I would call your agent and see if he couldn't come and walk through with you, because he's got more experience and value than, no
I
offense,
just
but.
figured Guy probably knows a lot of the values too.
Well, but even those, I'd make your agent come walk through with you. That's a job.
I feel like we get upset, because, I mean, I'm sure Guy has a good idea, but the insurance agent should know what it's gonna cost to replace some of this
And they've
stuff.
got the little formulas, so many
Yeah.
square feet, this is what it, and I'm sure you're insured for replacement value, so it's not gonna make a huge difference, because they have to cover to replace it.
He just used
But-
Perth as the example of, that's part of the reason why it's taking so long.
Right, and so, so if we did this, we're not gonna be in the same issue that Firth is in because we did this?
Well, the first biggest problem is more with the personal property, because they didn't have a very good inventory. So they're trying to go find, so on the buildings and stuff, it's not a problem, they've got replacement coverage.
Okay,
But they didn't have a good list of their personal property items, I mean, how many hoses did they have, how many fire suits did they have, how many? That's where it's been difficult, so they've been going through like old training photos. Hey, we had 12 guys here, they're all suited up, so we had to have had 12 suits. They didn't
And I
have
am
a
gonna
list.
send all the pictures.
So that's where first problem really is.
okay,
So that's the walkthrough of the buildings and the
Okay.
pictures is where that's helpful.
okay,
But as far as your building values and all that, that's your agent's job. I'd have him come walk through with you, because then if there is a fire,
Okay, yeah.
he's the one who put the value on it.
He told me to make a list.
Well, for your personal property. Yeah, but for your valuations and stuff, I mean, that's his job.
It's like personal property, you count how much it costs to replace all the chairs, the table, tractor.
That's where your pictures are important.
Yeah.
okay.
That stuff adds up. It's amazing how fast it adds up.
Okay,
Listen,
That's it.
is that it? Anything else?
You got it? You got it?
Good. Okay,
You
I have
have
it
anything to bring
right
up?
3 minutes when I ran it.
That has to be the fastest I ever heard of.
Yeah, I was like, do I have anything? Okay, yep, have to go.
sit in the cheap seats. All right, well, let's cut you might want to use a table, so.
Oh, well, yeah.
Look like a
So
thing.
you can ask questions or say stuff. Hey,
Just I thought you want to use a table. It's easier to write on.
I was just gonna start building this up.
Okay. So we're
It's a
done?
trigger meeting, yeah, so we can.
Yeah.
Okay. I move to it. I'm sorry. I
No.
move to
I'll second.
All in favor?
Kill cameras.
Yeah, so they can do their business stuff.
All right.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Garrett.
Yep.
Thank you, Kyle.
Yeah, have a good night.
You too, thank you.
Hey, Okay, you